meta usually being the playmaker and shot creator being one of the top guard builds, I was thinking about NBA 2K21, how I had a 6'5" slashing build that can shoot, dunk, and dribble at the same time. As we already had builds like this in the prior years, if you don't remember the build I'm talking about, this is my 6'5" ISO build that I used during the year. I got Hall of Fame shooting and Hall of Fame slashing on this build. Back then in NBA 2K21, they had this build that you can get it crazy. You can be a scoring machine, an offensive threat, a slasher. You can come with a lot of crazy names. But I usually call this build my 3-point slasher build. But today I'm gonna end up basically making a 3-point slashing playmaker or scoring machine or offensive threat. But the two pie charts we're gonna end up working with is with slashing in it. But mostly, as I said, a lot of people in the park that you're gonna see is gonna have this yellow-green pie chart. But today we're gonna mix it up. We're gonna come to the green-blue pie charts. We're gonna go with the one that got the more blue, and then we're gonna go with the one with it's 50-50. I wanna end up showing you two different type of ways that you can build these. You can have one with a low dunk and still get contact dunks with a 77-74 drive and dunk. Then you can have one where you be able to get contact dunks off the rip. So look, as we're gonna be building this build, I chose the one with the more blue. That is one of the most dominant ones I liked so far. Even though it has gold shooting, you still can get the job done with that build. If you guys decide to make this build a shooting guard, it's not going to be any difference. The only difference that you're going to get is the dunk packages. You might unlock more dunk packages being a shooting guard on this build. But as I said earlier, I'm going to show you different variations. This variation right here is the more blue pie chart of the green. But look, this variation is from YouTubers and content creators and some streamers. This is the one we all somewhat went on together and actually made this build as a whole. The second build that you're going to see with this pie chart is from stage players and Pro-Am players. I asked at least 5 to 10 Pro-Am players and stage players, if you was going to make this build, how would you make it, especially with this pie chart? And they end up making a crazy amount of build, especially the way y'all might see it. You might not like it, but it looks real good. But as we have right here, we can have 17, 17, 15, and 5. I'm just trying to finesse some attributes, see if I can get more. But look, as having the badge count 17, 17, 15, and 5, this is looking like a good all-around build. Like I said, you have literally enough badges to get all the finishing you want. You have enough badges to shoot, especially if they're being on go, and you got enough badges to use playmaking. With that being variation number 1 from the YouTubers and the content creators, this is variation number 2 from the comp stage and the Pro-Am community of which way they would end up making this build if they decided to use this. It don't matter if it's park, stage, even Pro-Am. If they're mostly going to be a point guard, they're mostly going to be in the corner. So they explained the way they will build it. They were going to be using it. They will say, I want the most shooting and I want the most finishing, especially getting the most out the pie chart. Being the guard, you're going to be basically the main shooter. I was literally thinking, oh, 18 is really not going to be enough, especially with them, how they're playing the game. They will need at least maybe 20 to 21 shooting badges. I think at the point of having 18 finish badges, it's kind of excessive. You could do 17 or 16. That's because of all the new badges that's been added to the game. 16 might definitely get the job done. But if you end up saving all of that and then you add it into the playmaking, you will end up getting 16 playmaking badges. So I was thinking it could be 16, 21, 16, and 1 defensive badge. But these guys, they end up messing around with the builder and they said, I want 21 shooting badges, I want 18 finishing badges, and I want to just keep the 15, and we're going to have the defense, literally 1 defensive badge, as they're going to be mostly playing corner on this build. But if you had to decide which build that you had to pick from the variation, the content creators or the comp players build right here, and then with the content creator builds right here, which one would you choose? As I like the 17, 17, 15, and 5, 18, 21, 15, and 1 was actually great. But will it be a build that somebody can really just hop on and use, or is it a build that actually you will have to work with and learn how to get open with that type of build? ISO with this build, because with this build you can be all the way to the height of 6'2", somewhat slight 6'1". With the 6'1", you will have to make your arms fully maxed out, and you will end up having a lower 3-pointer at that rate, but you can shoot with a low 3-pointer on this game. I've seen people shoot with 50 3-pointers, especially being at a guard. They're going to maybe make their arms minimum wingspan, but as you making this build and you're making it for contact dunks and also being able to shoot decently, and you're not going to shoot like a play shot unless you really got a great timing for your jump shot. But look, as I'm making this build, a 6'3", 172 weight, as you get an 88 speed and an 88 acceleration. If you want to make this build 6'2", you can, but I like the 6'3" and the 6'4" of this build. You don't have to be super small. If you want to be 6'3", you can make it 6'3". If you want to be 6'4", you can make it 6'4". You want to go with the lowest wingspan, you actually can. If you remember from 2K21, I had a ball hawk build slashing takeover with a 77 driving dunk. With +10, with you getting takeover, you will be able to get contact dunks on this build. As having a 77 +10, I had an 87 driving dunk on this build. I didn't have to buy any animations. You unlock all the animations when you end up takeover on this build. But as you want to do it that way, you can. But if you want to end up having contact dunks off the rip and you don't want to have takeover when you do it, I prefer you to end up raising your wingspan to 82.3 for you can end up having that 81 driving dunk or the 82 driving dunk if you want it. An 81 driving dunk +4, that's 85. All you need this year is a 84 driving dunk to get all the dunk packages, the basic ones. But if you want to get the elite contact dunks, you have to end up getting this build with slashing takeover. Even though you have an 84 driving dunk or 85, +10 with slashing takeover, that's a 94 driving dunk, and you will unlock elite contact dunks as you get takeover. But look, if you don't want to get this build at 99, I prefer you go lowest wingspan. And if you want Hall of Fame shooting badges, there is another build that we're going to be showing you. As this being the more Hall of Fame finishing and less shooting, this build is actually a great build. But when you're working with this build, I'm going to mess with the sharpshooting if I'm going to make this build with long arms. If I'm making this build with short arms, I'm going to end up having to go with slashing takeover. It's a must. Do make this build with long arms, well, not even long arms, semi-long arms, having an 82 wingspan. You having slashing takeover on that build with having the 85 driving dunk with the +10 when you get takeover, you got basic contact dunks already. Then you end up getting takeover. You got all the elite contact dunks unlocked once you're in takeover. But as we get the name slashing playmaker on this build, it's actually crazy. I was trying to get the name scoring machine, but it was so hard to try to get the name scoring machine on this game. You have to sacrifice a lot, and I did it actually the right way to get the scoring machine name. They just end up giving you slashing playmaker, but I would name this build a 3-point slashing playmaker because how it is. But the next pie chart is half green blue. This is the pie chart that I had to really think on. As me using this in 2K21 on my 6'5", I was thinking you can make this build pretty tall. You don't have to be 6'2". You can be 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", even 6'6" if you really want to. As we're making this build with the Hall of Fame shooting and Hall of Fame finishing pie chart, I'm gonna let you know this now. If I was gonna pick a height, the best height for this would be 6'3" and 6'4", even though you can make it even taller like I told you. But if you want to be all around like I showed you with the 82 ball control, 83 pointer at 99, and then you got a high driving dunk, I would make the build between 6'3" or 6'4". And then with you having enough shooting badges and there being Hall of Fame, I think you will need more shooting badges than 18. But if you do that, that means you have no defense. So you go the Pro-Am/stage type route with no defense, only perimeter defense, lateral quickness, and then still on a build with no badges. But look, if you're sitting corner, you could do that. That could be the way you could go. But if you're thinking that you're going to end up guarding ball on this build, I wouldn't even do that. Even though you got 4 defensive badges, 4 defensive badges is really nothing. That's literally interceptor and menace on silver. Or you could put it on clamps on silver if you want to, and then have interceptor. But it's no point that you should be guarding ball on this build. At this point, you should have a lockdown on your team for somebody who has higher defense ratings than you guarding the ball. But as you can make this build 6'1", 6 foot, you can really make this build the lowest you want. Maybe like 6'1" all the way to like 6'7" or 8. And you will still be able to get contact dunks because how the way we're doing this, we're going to go with the lowest wingspan. As of going with the lowest wingspan, like I told you, and picking slashing takeover, getting a +10. And you would have to have that 74 driving dunk rating off the rip. If you want to get contact dunks off the rip with getting slashing takeover, this is the way you would have to do it. If you thinking that you're going to be able to get it with a 73, it's not going to happen. But once you get to 78 driving dunk, you're going to have an 88 driving dunk and takeover. And y'all seen what I did with my ball hawk build with slashing takeover to 77. So just imagine, with them even changing the ratings, if you get basic dunk packages at 84, and then you have dunk packages at 92, change the style of how you build the build, because last year we was able to make the build with an 84 driving dunk, get contacts, or 85 to get elite contacts. But now we have to get 84 for basic context the same way, but now we need a 92 to get elite. So it does make a big difference if you're going to end up trying to, if you want elite contact dunks, you're going to have to grind this build out. If you're trying to get elite contact dunks, you're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to make your wingspan longer. You're going to have a lower three-pointer. You're going to have a ball control of 79. So you're going to have to be in MYCAREER trying to grind to get that build to at least a 96 overall just to get an 80 ball control. But as they give me the name offensive threat compared to the build before with Slash and Playmaker, kinda still like the first build with the whole thing finishing only. But if you guys are gonna end up making this build, make sure you drop a like on this video. Also subscribe, put on post notifications if you haven't yet. It been your man ChaMoma, and I'm out, y'all. Peace.